Shout out to G-Man Boxing.
Moses Itauma moves to 3-0, goes the distance for the first time against Kostiantyn Dovbyschenko. Now, Dovbyschenko going into this fight, I think I talked about this on Midweek Report that he's something like 9 wins and 12 losses, which on paper doesn't sound amazing. But the 12 losses, they've all been on points. They've all been the distance. And they haven't been over the course of 4 rounds or something like that. So you could turn around and say, oh, he's just good at surviving the 4 rounds. No, they've been over 8 and 10 rounds. Rudenko, Eric Pfeiffer are probably the most noticeable names you'd see on his resume. Obviously, he's lost both those guys. So going into this fight against Itauma, I was thinking, okay, it's a big step up. You know, when I say big, compared to the 2 guys he fought in his first 2 fights, I mean, apparently he went the grand total of 58 seconds between 2 fights. Those guys were just, they weren't adequate opposition for someone like Itauma. Yes, Itauma's only had 24 amateur fights, but at a decent level. He's been in the gym with top pros since the age of, 14, 15. So he knows full well what he's doing. You can take this guy a little bit quicker. So against someone like that, albeit he didn't get the stoppage, is that really important? I mean, he won every single round. We got a chance to see what he's all about in terms of his skill set. What I mean by that is he's got fast feet. He's a good combination puncher. Definitely appears to have power there. Although Dovbyschenko wasn't noticeably hurt. I mean, in the first round, he was slightly stunned, I would say, by an Itauma left hand. But other than that, there wasn't really anything that noticeably buzzed him. But saying that, Dovbyschenko was very good at tucking up, very good at riding the shots. So for Itauma, it was difficult for him to land clean. But to take what he was doing in terms of offense and just look what he was doing as a whole game. His footwork, very, very good. His foot speed is very, very good. His movement is very, very good. His ring IQ is very, very good. His punch selection is very, very good. I like the way for a heavyweight, he switches it up to head and body seamlessly. Because one complaint a lot of people will have about heavyweights, and it's a complaint I'd have, is that you very seldom see heavyweights, especially bigger heavyweights like Itauma, and he would be on the bigger kind of scale, 6'4", 6'5", so the bigger end. You very seldom see them go to the body. Itauma was doing that a lot, was throwing a lot of good body shots in there. It was Itauma at times versus a heavy bag. There were times where Dovbyschenko did punch back at Itauma. Silly enough, got clipped a couple of times, just because I think he was just expecting this guy not to counter, not to do anything, so he needs to be careful of that. But that was only the first couple of rounds. Once he kind of got adjusted to, okay, so this guy will punch with me occasionally, I'd be on my guard. The feet were moving in and out. So he was really thinking, okay, this guy maybe is going to punch with me. I need to be careful. Although he's probably not the biggest puncher, I don't want to be taking shots. It's not a good look. So he was able to adjust to that. Personally, I felt this performance was very, very good from Itauma. I really, really rate Itauma very, very highly. And I'm impressed. You know, you don't need to go in there and blast everybody out of there in one round. You don't need to stop every opponent you fight. I mean, at the end of the day, you could say, well, Deontay Wilder went to 32-0 with 32 knockouts. Well, yeah, look who he was fighting. You know, I mean, this guy right here is probably better and more durable than what Deontay Wilder's first 20 opponents. Seriously, that's probably fair to say. Like, those guys were knockover jobs. You know, so, yes, he's not got 100% knockout ratio, but we got a chance to see some of the other skills that are there with Itauma, not just power, speed, footwork, ring IQ, combination punching. I think it's all there for Itauma. He's a very confident individual. I like that. So I definitely have high hopes for him. In terms of breaking Tyson's record, I mean, for marketing purposes, I think that's the main reason. Whether they do try and go down that road, I don't really know if they will. I mean, if they did and he did break it, I mean, well, there's your selling point right there. And you've got a potential star there. Because Mike Tyson is such a big name. People love Mike Tyson, even now. For someone to go and break his record, I mean, you would instantly have people taking notice. You know, whether they're doing that for marketing purposes or they really intend on doing it, that I don't know. I suspect the latter. Well, actually, I suspect that it's more marketing purposes. But you never know, they could decide, right, after a year and a half, let's put him in there, whoever has a title at whatever time. So wait and see. Very interested to see what they do with Itauma next. The one worry I had from this fight is that I could hear the commentary team saying that there was possibly an injury to his left hand. Now, he was still throwing it in the sixth and final round, so maybe a bit of swelling, who knows. But he wants to be out at least once a month. If he's got a hand injury, he might need to take a couple of months rest. But his goal is to get 8 fights this year. We're only in April. Even if he takes 6 weeks off, I mean, it's not inconceivable you could get him out twice in a month if the opponents go out of there as quick as, as potentially they can. So definitely an interesting fight. Enjoyed watching Itauma show off his skill set, of which there is many. I mean, there's more wrinkles to his game than just sheer brute force. He's definitely got more than that, and I think we've seen it in this fight. So there'll obviously be people saying, well, he didn't knock him out and he looked terrible, oh, blah, 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 he's a hype job. Well, you're not going to knock out every single fighter you ever fight. I mean, people want to compare him to Mike Tyson. Okay, James Quick Tillis. James Quick Tillis was stopped before Mike Tyson, and he was stopped after Mike Tyson. He was hurt by guys like Tyrell Biggs. Tyrell Biggs, not a big puncher, horrible style to watch. Biggs beat the living crap out of James Quick Tillis. Mike Tyson went the distance with him. Right? Yeah, Mike Tyson did drop him in that fight, but he went the distance and lost rounds. Mike Tyson still felt, I remember him saying that he was lucky to get a decision. Nah, he won the fight clearly, but if I remember correctly, they scored that fight under the round system. So obviously we know boxing is scored by rounds. You score by rounds with the 10-point must system. But back in the 80s, they still had the round system, which was essentially, there's no 10-point must system. It's just you won 4 rounds, you won, I think it was a 6-rounder, or 10 rounds, so you won 6 rounds. Doesn't matter whether you drop him or not. There's no 10-8 rounds. It's just he won 6, he won 4. And I believe it was, 8-2 and 6-4 on 2 scorecards. So a reasonably close fight. Very close fight. That would be a 96-94 scorecard today. So close fight. Mike Tyson did that with Tillis. And then his next fight went distance again with Mitch Green. So, I'm just chucking that in there. Just because you don't get rid of a guy in a round or two doesn't mean you're a bad fighter. I'll leave it there, people. Let me know your thoughts on Moses Itauma. I'll chat to you after the main event. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. Peace.